Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday, November the 3rd. We're happy to have you for another episode of the Prime Time Show. No sad boys tonight. Winners. Winners only around here. It's a rare enough thing that you can celebrate a win, but that's exactly what the Tennessee Titans got done today in overtime. A labor, I don't know if it was a labor of love. I don't know how most of you are going to feel about it. I'm genuinely curious to know. Hey, how do you feel about your football team winning a game today? Because there's probably a lot of mixed emotions. God knows. It was an emotional scene that played out at Nissan Stadium for a bunch of different reasons. It was a roller coaster, but a win is a win, and they do matter, even if you're buying for the number one overall draft pick, and even if you're butthurt because the Patriots are now the worst team in football. Congratulations to them. It drops the Titans back to like 9th in the draft order, but it's not even week 10. Like, there's so many reasons to look at this game and be like, all right, this was important for them to do today. And certainly if you watched any of the coach's press conference, you understood just how much it meant to them. You're going to hear from Brian Callahan here in just a little bit. Again, we are happy to have you. We are always grateful when you share this show around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We're going to have a lot to talk about because, understandably, beating the Patriots doesn't solve all their problems. So we're going to work our way through that with you guys tonight. We want you to invite your friends to come join the fun. Share it around, retweet it on Twitter, Facebook. You can share now to public, bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you would be so kind, if you're on YouTube, like the video, maybe text the link to a friend. Why not? There are plenty of good things to talk about. Sunday Night Football, going to be kind of interesting. Indianapolis Colts, first game since they've benched Anthony Richardson. They're going up against the Minnesota Vikings, whom the Titans will soon see. And I don't know. I don't want to get crazy. I don't want to get crazy tonight. But there is reason to believe that this football team might just be able to stack wins. But we don't have to get ahead of ourselves. We can talk about this win tonight. Share the show around wherever it is you're streaming with us, and we'll go ahead and guide you through this nonsense that was the 20-17 overtime win for the Tennessee Titans over the New England Patriots today. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports studio. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $100 on your no danger first wager. Terms and conditions do apply. ZenSports.com for more info. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com for more information. TrueMav Fitness, get your fitness routine up and running. Get the best workout in Middle Tennessee with TrueMavFitness.com. They will get you right today, and they'll get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. That's important too. What's important is winning. All right. Winning is important for a great many reasons. And I'm going to just generally, it's not even the Two Rivers Ford take. I'm just curious. Hey, you guys, you don't do a lot of winning lately. Your football team won a game today. How do you feel about it? Like, genuinely, how do you feel about it? Let's just talk. Let's make eye contact, you and me. Let's talk about it. How do you feel about this football team winning a game today? Because I am of mixed emotions. I'll be honest with you. I think that there's something to be said about the way that they won. I think, thank God for Tony Pollard. Thank God for Nick Westbrook-Akina. There are not that many redeeming qualities, though the defense did win the turnover battle today. Who'd have thunk? It just, they make it so hard to win the turnover battle, to get the amount of turnovers that even the average NFL team would get. It's crazy. They matched their season total in just one game today. Brian Callahan comes into this game. He's 1-6. They're drowning a little bit. And so you look at them heading into week 9, heading into the halfway point. We are now halfway through. Your mark safe from the 2024 Tennessee Titans season, or at least your mark safe from half of it. We'll see how the second half goes, but that's important because a lot of you at week 8, you said, all right, manure for Shador, or what's a good one for Ward? Bert, do you have any clever creative ones for the tanking for Cam Ward? I don't know. You'd come up with something. There's all manner of different thought processes that you go through at 1-6 because you're desperate, you're miserable, and you want your football team to show you some life, but also at that point you're like, for what? For what? What are you going to do at 1-6? And the answer is probably nothing, but there are still some things to be learned. So I don't know how you experience it as a fan today. What I saw, though, it prayed to the Lord for Ward, Austin Stanley coming into the clutch. I really, really struggled with this because I watched this football game today. Corey Curtis manifested this into existence. Sitting next to me in the press box, I sit between Sam Phelan to my left and Corey Curtis to my right. They're both menaces and should be held to account for that, but that's neither here nor there. Now, Corey Curtis was not wishing doom upon the Titans, but like manifesting doom upon the Titans. I swear to God, he predicted that Ramondre Stevenson 5-yard touchdown reception that capped that 50-yard, 11-play drive that the Titans gave up to send this damn thing to overtime, just making it so hard. The end of half sequence in the first half of this game, watching this team flounder about, taking a lead into half, but watching them just struggle. You came away from this game thinking, is it really good that they won this game? At least that's the mindset that I walked into the post-game press conference with. And then I saw Brian Callahan kind of like choke up talking about Tony Pollard. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, you know it's real. Like, you understand that these jobs are hard, but I do think that a lot of people say, all right, that's what the money's for. And by the way, that is what the money's for. There is an emotional toll that comes with any profession, but it can be to a heightened degree in coaching at any level. And this guy, he's been under the gun, okay? He's not used to getting berated about special teams coordinators and his offensive play calling and why he hasn't made the quarterback better. This man is not, I won't say that he's not used to some level of criticism. He's a football coach, right? He's come up with a dad who's a very, very, I'm not going to say difficult, but sounded like a stern person to grow up under. Former NFL head coach, college football coach, Bill Callahan, legendary coach in the industry. I'm sure the man may not have had the softest touch at all times. Like, I don't doubt that Brian Callahan hasn't been prepared properly for the emotional toll that this sport can take on you throughout the course of his entire life. But it's been really, really bad here lately, folks. I don't have to tell you that, but it's the first time that we saw him kind of like exhale dealing with all this stuff. Because the most part, I mean, you could see it. They're wearing it on their faces. And like, honestly, the players have carried themselves, I think, better than the coaching staff has, because the players understand what it is at this level. And these are a bunch of, I'm not going to say a bunch of dudes because that would discredit them, but they're a bunch of coaches who are doing a lot of these jobs for the first time. And they're finding out just exactly how damn hard it is to win a game in the NFL. Even as teams like the Patriots and the Jets and whomever else get wins from time to time, like this was a hard one, but they got it done, right? And you saw just how that went. So, like, when I ask you the question, how do you feel about your football team getting a win today? I don't ask it with any irony or any kind of, I'm not trying to drive you in one direction or the other, because I don't know how many of you, like, I think most people probably just appreciate the feel good of a win. Like, just something. Just show me something, right? Show me that you are capable of doing this. Because there were a couple of different points today where it looked like it was trending in the wrong direction. And a lot of the conversations that are being had already, that aren't just being had externally, but are being had internally, are these the right people to do their jobs from front office to coaching staff? It's not really excluding anybody. Everybody's under the microscope at 1-6. You understand that, especially when your product is embarrassing. And for good parts of the game today, they were not the better team, which is what makes you conflicted about this win. I think there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. And like, I make the joke about every press conference with Will Levis feeling a bit like a psychological evaluation when we're talking to him about his mindset. And obviously it's been more health related lately with the shoulder and all these different things. But it felt like some kind of emotional breakthrough today with Brian Callahan. And you understand, of course, because it's been really, really terrible. And, some people don't wear it as well as others. The question that I'm going to ask you today is, what was the most stressful part of the Titans' victory over the Patriots? Because this was a stressful win, and it doesn't cure all your ills, but it can go a long way to helping you build upon these things. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch in the comment section. If you would be so inclined, let me know how you feel about this particular situation. What was the most stressful part of the Titans' win over the Patriots today? We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. No problem when it comes to the car buying process. Car buying process, fast, easy, and fun. That's what they're about. They've been doing it for over 40 years here in Middle Tennessee. So many people who have been helped, millions of Middle Tennesseans across those 4 decades, getting quality American-made Ford vehicles and that awesome customer service, that award-winning customer service that they are famous for. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information. So, a lot of stress today. My hair makes me look like I got electrocuted. No, I went to a Titans game and witnessed that stuff live, and it melted my face off a little bit. But you understand how these things go. You saw your team accomplish some things today. Offensive line, I know the Leroy Watson situation. I mean, they were rotating the right tackle again. Again, this is something that also has to be figured out. Like, I reiterate, this was a not overwhelmingly well-played football game today, but it was good enough to win against Drake May on the road. Whatever. Take the win and run with it. But there are a couple of different things that still have to be ironed out for this thing to take a meaningful turn, right? Today had meaning for different meanings. You know what I'm saying? Like, today had meaning for different reasons. Today was about, okay, can we do this? Like, there's a little bit of, everybody has, well, maybe not everybody, I don't want to speak for everybody, but there's probably some degree of imposter syndrome in every profession, right? Am I actually capable of doing this job at a high level? When, maybe people have told you otherwise, or people are questioning your ability to in a public setting where your face is magnified on television for the first time, like really for the first time in your career, or you're shouting, what the F are you doing at your quarterback? And all of a sudden it turns into, like we've talked about, a psyche eval. So with all this stuff that's going on, there's a lot of stressors that are happening with this particular football team, but they were the least chaotic of these two teams and found ways to hang on. It's a terrible decision. Let me reiterate, Drake May pretty well gave away this game to Amani Hooker, who, to his credit, got his second interception of the game, sealed it in overtime, hang on after driving the length of the field. You win the coin toss at the start of overtime. You drive the length of the field. You get in position for the field goal. You thought they looked like they were about to score a touchdown on that drive, but of course you have a botched center quarterback snap exchange. You got Corey Levin in there because it sounds like, I think PK is reporting that Lloyd Cushenberry has an Achilles injury, which would, of course, rule him out for the year. Corey Levin in there, Mason Rudolph in there. You're working uphill on a bunch of different things. But it was less chaotic than the Patriots, and the Patriots are still working their own way through at this point in time. So you look at a couple of different stressors, but there was no bigger stressor, I felt like, than watching the Patriots at the end of this game to set up overtime, drive 50 yards in 11 plays, and set up this 5-yard, just a throwaway touchdown pass to the running back, Ramondre Stevenson, who just shuts down about half the crowd at Nissan Stadium because, to be honest, the other half was Patriots fans.
Drake May for the game. Patting the ball. May scanning. Loads of time. He'll roll. He'll run. A sidestep. He's ready to throw. Nobody's open. Into the end zone. Touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Stevenson. And May with an absolute jewel of an effort.
So like I said, Sam Phelan to my left, Corey Curtis, WKRN News 2 to my right. You ever seen the Joe Rogan meme? I was trying to explain this to Bert earlier today. the Joe Rogan MMA fight meme where he's calling a match. I don't know what exactly happens, but somebody gets knocked the hell out, I assume. And you see Rogan grab the two people to his side and just in shock at what he's just witnessed. Like, that was us sitting in the press box watching this game today thinking, oh my God, are they really about to give this thing away? The unthinkable. How could you get a lead in this game, waste the lead in this game, give away the lead to a rookie quarterback who on the ground you cannot stop all day long and who is making enough plays down the field to at least scare you? You give up this touchdown. You have the defensive penalties that you do as well that allow the Patriots to stay in this game, allow them to hang around. It's as stressful a situation. I mean, it's a meaningless game for all intents and purposes, right? Today, between two, one had one win on the season in the Tennessee Titans. The Patriots had 2 wins and have 2 wins on the season. They're now 2-7. So it's really, in the grand scheme of NFL football this year, a meaningless game. But just to watch these two go back and forth and just seemingly sabotaging themselves at so many given points, it was crazy to witness. But that was the most stressful thing I saw today from the Tennessee Titans with that defensive situation, because for the most part, I thought the defense was disrupting the quarterback. They're turning the ball over. They were allowing the offense opportunities to stay in the game and keep the lead. The offense had issues unto itself, but it was just such, and we don't have time. We don't have the necessary time to get into special teams today. By the way, A to Z Sports Prime Time. Let me not get too caught up. This is so much to deconstruct in this overtime game that I feel like I'm not even doing that good of a job keeping a coherent thread, but we're going to do our best because there's a lot of different pieces and parts from this game to pull from. And you understand that whatever it was, it got the job done enough for you to at least keep some interest for another week. At least, for us to find out whether this coaching staff can be meaningfully competitive, can get a team in a meaningfully competitive position. A to Z Sports Prime Time is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com. Get your dream address without the stress. Get the intel edge you need to succeed from Gary Ashton, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. Jack Longley says on YouTube, meaningless. I like the new comment boxes, by the way. Me and Bert were just talking about that. I think you very rarely you see alterations and updates and modifications for good, but this is legitimately good. We like to see the bigger text. Meaningless for the grand NFL scheme, but for the locker room and the staff, it's everything. They don't have the luxury of tanking. If they don't win, they won't get to use the early draft pick. That's real. Like, here's the thing. I've never really had a conversation, or haven't had a conversation yet this season about how realistic is it that the people who are currently in the biggest roles for the Tennessee Titans, Rand Carthon, Chad Brinker, Anthony Robinson, Brian Callahan, let's work with those 4 because those are the most important football people right now. How realistic is it that they, A, make changes in the front office, B, clear out the front office, C, make changes on the coaching staff, D, clear out the coaching staff, and all of those things, no matter how bad it's gotten, have seemed pretty improbable, except for today when the vibe, has been more and more, okay, I don't know if ownership is necessarily down for this at this particular point in time. Now, it's nothing, it's nothing like loud, super loud or anything like that, but it's just a general feeling of discontentment. Why wouldn't it be? We've all watched them play football. We all understand how inept it has looked, and even how catastrophic it nearly was today. But to their credit, they avoided it. They found ways to win a football game. I'm not going to take that away from them. But again, you start to have these thoughts in your head. Hey, what do the people that own this thing actually think about what was bought and paid for versus what they're getting on the field? Where you're looking at the crowd today, and it was, It was tough. They're lucky that the Patriots colors are somewhat similar to the Titans, because at least it made it look more full of home fans than it actually was. I don't know that the Patriots fans outnumbered the Titans fans or anything like that today. But again, I mean, it's 1-6, it's 2-6, it's pretty bleak. It's it's a nice day. Maybe you go see a football game for like $33. I don't know what it was to get in the door, but still, you start to wonder, hey, are they still with this? How much longer are they going to be with this? How much longer can they kind of be soothed by, trust us? And then you have the Ran Carthon interview in the Tennessean last Sunday, and the comments from that just seem a bit tone deaf. And you don't fault the guy for trying to explain things and asking people to stick with them, but the explanations given, it wasn't satisfactory for what you're looking for. And I don't know what you're looking for necessarily in that situation, but just the way that it read, it didn't seem terribly well thought out in that moment, which is fine, because from what I understand, Nick Suss approached Ran Carthon in the locker room and said, "Hey, Ran, would you talk?" He said, kind of put it off, and then said, "Okay, fine. Like, let's walk through some of this stuff." And then, it was what it was. It was impromptu, but you gotta be more aware. It feels like, when people are as hypersensitive about your product as they have been here in the last couple of weeks. But with everything that's going on, I think that there's a lot that you can pull from this. This team still has things it can accomplish. Again, the pass protection is getting better. I don't know what kind of chaos is going to be thrown into the mix. I mean, chaos feels like a fair word. What kind of chaos is going to be thrown into the mix when Will Levis gets inserted back in the lineup? Like, they got something done today. They got it done with offense, with defense, with not catastrophic special teams. Special teams were good, but it wasn't catastrophic. It didn't nuke them. It didn't kill them the way that it did in Detroit. What happens when Will Levis gets back into this lineup? It's fair to wonder just how much more you can accomplish this season, or how much more you can learn, right? Because now it's more about like a science experiment as opposed to something that you have any kind of like real playoff expectations for. Obviously, playoff expectations at 2-6 are null and void, but still, it's fascinating to watch. A to Z Sports Prime Time is made possible by TrueMap Fitness. Go to TrueMap Fitness in the Gulch. Get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMapFitness.com. Great place to work out. Awesome facilities. So many different kinds of workouts. Coaching staff is amazing. Also, Worth Campbell, diehard Titans fan. No, Worth took his young family today. I think it was his daughter's first Titans game. So they got to take in a win. You can talk Titans. You can get the best workout in Middle Tennessee at TrueMapFitness.com. All right. So with all the stressors that came with today, and there were many, and we'll work our way through them with more nuance tomorrow for 3 hours when we have the opportunity to kind of like take this thing piece by piece. Like, you gotta dissect what it is, how it is that the Tennessee Titans rode the highs and lows. If you've looked at their win probability thing, and I know that's not everything on ESPN and football, Pro Football Focus, it's just wild to watch the literal roller coaster that Titans fans and apparently the coaches and the players experience on a regular basis on Sunday. But that was clearly taxing to Brian Callahan. Why wouldn't it be? 1-6 to start this thing, now 2-6 after an overtime, a stressful overtime, but an overtime win today. He started to talk. He just gave his opening remarks. He typically comes to the podium. He'll give an injury update. There were a couple of critical injuries that we'll talk about moving forward. Quandre Diggs, you have Lloyd Cushenberry. We touched on briefly, but we'll flesh those out here in the coming weeks as we learn more about the guys that they're going to be tasked with replacing him. Brian Callahan gets to the podium. After every game, he's got some level of prepared remarks. Hey, injury updates. Here's what happened. Here's why we lost. Here's why we won. Whatever. There's been far more discussion about losses than there have about wins, but that's the way that he came to the podium. And it was funny because there's still a little bit of, I don't know, it seems reductive to call him naive about this, but he walked into the post-game press conference and he said, "Man, this place is like a morgue." And I mean, yeah, okay, but like we're not in there to rah-rah. We're here to ask you questions about, hey, how you feeling about all this? You're still 2-6, we're not having the same emotional response that he is. And he comes in like being like, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about it. When of course it's not like, I know that people hate the media stuff and like distancing ourselves from it, but it's not our job to be excited about it. It's our job to find out, hey, what did you identify that you did right? How did you get there? Is it sustainable? Can you build on it? Why can you build on it? Please explain how. Show us proof of concept. Like it's, we're there to ask you questions. And so that made me laugh off the jump. And then he starts talking about the game the way that he always does.
Diggs with a foot and Lloyd with an ankle of some sort. We'll get the imaging, but not real positive on those two at this point. But man, what a definition of what we want our football team to look like and play like when things get tight. Tremendous amount of resilience. We finally got in a position where the way our team plays and the way that they go about their business actually got a chance to pay off for us, which was really great to see. I'm proud of those guys. I love what we're made of in the locker room, and we finally played long enough, hard enough, and well enough to put ourselves in position to win a game. We went a little longer than I was hoping for. Got an extra quarter of football in there, but man, I'm proud of what those guys put out there and how hard they fought. We had a bunch of guys step up. Obviously, Corey Levin had to come in. Mike Brown had to come in. Those guys played a big role in giving us a chance to win the football game. I thought we ran the ball in that overtime period. That was we imposed our will in that overtime period, which was awesome to see. Running the football down there and taking up almost the entire overtime and not giving them much to work with on the back end. Tony Pollard, just to point out, 154 total yards, didn't practice once this week. He's everything. He's everything that our locker room is about. Proud of and then finally, we won the turnover battle. We finally found a way to get our hands on 3 footballs. We only turned it over once. Unfortunately, we had a shot to get a touchdown there, and we turned that ball over. It got tipped up in the air. So a lot of really good things, plenty of things to clean up, but I'd much rather be cleaning them up, feeling good about a win than after a loss. So it was just really good to see our team fight today.
Just how badly did you guys need this today?
Look at me. I needed it bad, man. It was, we needed it.
Oof. That's real human emotion. And so like on the Brian Callahan thing, because this is the question for you guys, what was your reaction to Brian Callahan's emotional press conference? Now that was just the start. It was just his opening press conference. It was my follow-up right out the gates. Because as soon as, in a press conference, like, yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's rare that you see somebody like display that kind of emotion, right? Because as soon as you heard him talk about Tony Pollard, his voice cracked and you're like, oh, okay, let's work through this here a little bit. So it was just a simple question. Hey, how badly did you guys need this? And, pretty evident how badly he needed it. Now, he needed it and they needed it, right? Like, again, this stuff legitimately matters. You don't want your team to crash out just for the sake of draft picks. That's never been a sustainable or smart business model for trying to actually put together a successful football program, not just a football team. I'm of two minds of this because immediately when he had that reaction, it was a little, I'm not going to say shock. It was surprising. Shocking feels like extreme, but it was surprising, right? Okay. Going through it. Get that. Hard job. It's been bad. It's been really bad. And we've been, pretty collectively crushing you and your buddies, right? Colt Anderson, we've been coming after him in press conferences. Nick Holtz, his comments are being picked apart about, the goal line sequence in Detroit. And yeah, we'd probably do it again, but maybe we'd learn or whatever. They kind of did something similar today again, which all rolls into what was the most stressful part of this game. There were several stressful parts of this game that just made you shake your head like, what are they doing? Are they going to do this again? Are they going to do this again against the Patriots? But nonetheless, so you understand that it's a very emotional situation. Wins matter. These people make their living off of winning football games, no matter how badly you may want to or kind of want them to lose games for the best possible draft pick so your football team can get better. That is understandable too. Both things can be so. So then there's the other part of this where I'm like, all right, am I a jerk if the vision that it invoked after I was processing this on my drive home is that of John Robinson? Now, these are very different situations, right? Very different situations. Brian Callahan is in his first year. He is not even through his first season of NFL head coaching and play calling at the same time. John Robinson was 5, maybe 6 years into his tenure at general manager. He had been to an AFC championship game. He had been, in J-Rob we trust. He had done a lot of good things, and it was starting to get exposed how unsustainable those good things were going to be when he cried at the NFL Combine after the Bengals playoff loss in 2021. And I remember looking at John at the time and being at the Combine. I think that was the first year we had the radio show. And thinking about it and being like, oh, well, that's a superhuman response, super emotional response. Don't typically see that from general managers, but guys from Tennessee, cares about the Tennessee Titans. It hits different from him. Let me not overthink this. And then I remember getting texts from other people in NFL media in a lot of different markets being like, you're going to crush this guy, right? And I go, oh, no, it hadn't even occurred to me to go after him for having that emotional response after the team that he put together fell apart in the most important spot, and he's having an emotional reaction to it the way that many people had an emotional reaction to it. I remember seeing you guys, a lot of you guys, in Nissan Stadium after that game, a game that I covered, watched Tannehill throw the interception on the first pass of the playoff game as the number 1 overall seed after all the exhausting moments of 12-5 and the injuries and Vrabel Coach of the Year, all of it, right? You found a way to get as good as humanly possible for this playoff run. Home field advantage, squandered. Crash out, right? Things that feel like it broke this franchise or has broken this franchise from what was winning DNA for basically the better part of 3 years. So John cried at the Combine after that, more viscerally than did Brian Callahan today. And I remember hearing from people after the fact about no, that's wild that he would do that after having the lack of success that he's had here lately. And that was when we were starting to learn more about Isaiah Wilson and Traylon Burks. Well, Traylon Burks hadn't yet arrived, but Caleb Farley was something that they stuck their neck out for at the time and didn't necessarily look like it was going to be a good idea. It's the A.J. Brown trade had not yet come, but there was a lot of things that collapsed very quickly all at once. So John was broken, it felt like, but for different reasons. Brian Callahan doesn't feel like broken. Broken would mean that he is incapable of pulling himself out of this, that he is not capable of getting better from this, growing as an NFL head coach. I think he's capable, right? It's just been a small sample size of really shitty football that's been easy to crush while they're trying, pulling their hair out, trying to figure it out. And I don't doubt that they're working hard to try and figure it out. It's just really, really hard. So Brian Callahan felt like the losing had broken him to that point. And when I thought about John on the drive home and getting ready for the primetime show and thinking is there any kind of parallel that I should be making, or am I trying too hard to connect these two situations? And what I came back with is this. I get it. I appreciate it. I feel for them. I just want to see you, steel yourself a little bit, show you've got the stomach for this shit, not let it impact your performance in game or as best as humanly possible. It can impact you. These things have impact on your day-to-day, your psychological, your emotional, your physical, all of it. But can you, toughen up after this moment of clear emotional exasperation, or emotional exasperation feels right, and go out there and try and do it again? Because you got a football game on Sunday and Jim Harbaugh is going to try to kick your ass. He doesn't care if you're crying after beating the 2-6 Patriots. I had this feeling am I a jerk for feeling like that? Because I understand the emotion on the one hand, but I also know just how brutal this league is from even the media standpoint, seeing the way that it just grinds people down to a pulp, talking to people, knowing people, seeing people get out of football and go into different industries around football just because it's better for your health. Like this stuff can wear on you. So are you made of the right stuff? Is the, you know, the generalized way that I'd sum it up. We're going to learn. It's not just about quarterback evaluation at this point. It's a long way, meandering way for me to get to my point on that. But I'm just so fascinated to see what we actually learn about this person, Brian Callahan, and how he's going to handle these things moving forward, what are moments of growth, how much of this is foreshadowing, and how much better or worse it can get. I think both things, I feel like I've taken both sides of an argument on a couple of different things tonight, but I do think generally that both things can be so. Like, it can have sucked. He can have been a bit broken by this. He can rebound and get better from it. Or, he can crash out again on the road against the Chargers, and we could be having the same conversations come next Monday morning. But for now, all right, you showed us something. Let's see you do it again. All right. So, Sunday Fun Day. What was the best thing you saw this football weekend? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. In the comments section, let me know where you are involved. I'm not watching Sunday Night Football right now. I should probably switch over. I've been watching this Titans game again. The Titans are currently up 7-0. The Titans are about to squander the first half opportunity for them to get points before the half in one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen in my life. They do not deserve Nick Westbrook-Akina. These are so many other shows, so many other thoughts I have from this game that we're going to have to stretch out throughout the course of the week, because it's crazy how much stuff happened today for the Titans to get just their second win of the season. What's the best thing that you saw this weekend? In the comment section, while you are submitting your nominees, I will remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by Zen Sports. Zen Sports is your spot. Betting just gets better at Zen Sports. They are the best when it comes to betting on all your favorite major sports, and they have so many different great offers for you when you use that promo code ATOZTN. It's never too early, by the way, to start thinking about the big game. It's right around the corner. November is upon us. Zen Sports, the new sports book in Tennessee, has launched a brand new sweepstakes for all its Tennessee customers, the Big Game Sweepstakes, where you could win a grand prize of 2 tickets to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans or $10,000 cash. What's more is Zen Sports will also award 50 additional prizes, which include 2 tickets to any Tennessee sporting event or $100 cash. So if you want in on the action, you can earn multiple entries every day just by betting on the Zen Sports app. For every bet you place, you will earn 1 entry, and for every dollar you bet, earn an additional entry. Like parlays, earn double the entries on every parlay placed. No danger first wager, limited to plus 500 odds to qualify. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Zen Sports is the place for you to go any season, no matter what your favorite major sports are. All right. So, what was the best thing that you saw this weekend? Preds whooping the Colorado Avalanche yesterday, says William Jones. Yes, Preds got right after letting a result get lopsided. Matt Stanley says Saquon, holy backwards hurdle Batman. Darth Vader agrees on YouTube. Bert described this to me earlier. I haven't got a chance to see it. I missed a couple of different things covering the Titans overtime game today and then doing the locker room afterwards, but I think that I'm looking forward to going back and watch that game because Jacksonville threatened for a minute, but I know that there was some officiating, nonsense. Austin says, the best thing I saw this weekend, Simone Biles perform in person. Ooh, fun with another Olympic gymnast in Cincy. Shout out Bert for finding that event months ago. Hey, wait, what do you mean? You're serving as a travel concierge service for the rest of the company, and you're not finding me any cool deals or fun events to go to? What's your deal? Are you just going to sit there and stare at me in the screen that nobody can see? You're going to make me put you on camera.
Why does it look like you've been crying?
Because I've had a long day and this team is killing me.
Did you need this? Did you really need this? Is that
Did
why
I need this?
Yeah, is that why you've been crying?
Are you kidding me? Yes. Yes, you needed this. I needed this. I am so sick of watching them flounder about. You know how depressing that locker room was going to be if they gave up that end of game score in overtime and somehow found a way to give away the game. I could not imagine a bigger comet hitting them after the last 8 weeks.
Well, the good thing is, if you're referring to the event, I talked about that on the morning show. Ramon, Kale, and Will, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you want to tune in, we talked about that event because we talk about cultured things. Not just grown men in their underwear, beating on each other. Ah! We're not all guts. We're more glory on the morning show. So check us out 6 10. We'll have NWI on the morning show tomorrow. Check it.
As if he's not the grown man sitting there in his underwear flexing, trying to orchestrate radio and live stream shows from wherever that room is. Anyway, NWI on 104.5 The Zone tomorrow morning. You should check that out. It will be a good conversation. Shout out to Hoosiers. There better be some Indiana football talk on there. They're 9-0. And it makes me very happy because I could rub my football team in Lucas's face and have no care about that football team whatsoever other than to talk shit. All right. Actually, that's probably my Sunday fun day. Indiana football, first 9-0 start in the history of the program. They've been playing football at Indiana, allegedly, for 130-something years. First 9-0 start. I saw that they came out number 8, if I'm not mistaken, in the AP Top 25. First college football playoff Top 25 on Tuesday. Also, the NFL trade deadline is Tuesday. Also, Election Day. So all of those things stacked in order of varying importance on Tuesday. Will be a busy day. I talked to Sam today. Sam and I are going to swap. So I am going to be with you on Tuesday, and we will react to the NFL trade line together. But the Sunday fun day that I saw, I don't know. I told Bert to surprise me. So let's click on this video, and hopefully it's not profane.
Shut your fucking mouth.
There's so many things to unpack here really
I
quickly.
just got so scared.
Really quickly.
I thought for sure that man was going to die.
I love that.
That was so wrong of you to put in here and not tell me what it was before I watched it. I thought I was going to witness a murder on a live stream show. I thought I was going to come back from that clip and just have watched a man die at an NFL stadium.
Commanders fans do not know how to win yet. They're still new to this. We'll give them a little grace in the acclimation process of going to a good team, have a little more decorum at your shows. But also, like, after he falls down, you can see him mouths the word, "What happened?" And then seconds later, you hear someone go, "Shut your mouth." You shut your mouth.
I know that he doesn't die, and I still grabbed the side of my desk as he rolled to his potential death like he was going to die. That was so concerning.
Oh, if that happened at Neyland, that guy would be dead. That guy would have taken people with him.
I don't know how people sit in the 300 level, and this is going to sound like a snob, but like I could never, just because I feel like I would get like vertigo. Like I feel like I would get legitimately uncomfortable in a 300 level section. Like even at Nissan, you're in the clouds. To hell with that. That would make me so uncomfortable.
I'm sure we'll talk about this tomorrow, but there were times where I was so inebriated in the first half of that game when we would be going back up the stairs and I would like have to hold on to a stranger to make sure that I wasn't gonna like.
Yeah, I'm glad I am that I didn't go to that game with you too. I was thinking about that Saturday and I was like, oh man, it would have been fun. I haven't got to go to Neyland in a couple of years. It's a night game. They'll be hyped. They should beat the shit out of Kentucky. They didn't. They didn't even cover. But then I was struck with the realization that I would have to do 2 hours of live radio with our lovely colleagues Blaine and Brad and Kayla at 9 a.m. before a Titans game, and that was not going to be possible if I was also so drunk I was holding on to strangers in the stands at Neyland Stadium.
It was worth it. I'd do it all again. We had a great time tailgating, had a great time at the game. We went to the Mouse's Ear after. Lucas was throwing money. He got on stage. We got kicked out. They showed him what the sidewalk looked like. It was awesome. We had a great weekend.
I can't wait to grill him about it in very uncomfortable fashion tomorrow for 3 hours of radio, and also maybe work in some Titans talk. You can check out Nick Westbrook Keen on the morning show. Get off my slide. And our radio show will dissect this thing with great importance for 3 hours tomorrow from 10 to 1. You can listen to Austin and Zach, or Austin and one of the other A to Z co-hosts, whomever may be co-hosting with him tomorrow. Maybe it's not even Austin. Maybe it's a different combo. Who's to say? A lot of different voices around here lately on A to Z, and that's a good thing because you get a lot of different perspectives instead of just hearing me yammer for 4 hours a day. But at least I'm yammering about a win for your sake. So I'm as worried about you as I am about your coaching staff. So, for all of your sakes, I hope that you can rest a little easier tonight. See you tomorrow morning on the radio.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville. Go home!